The last time the United States was leading a hexagonal match, the final round of World Cup qualifying, 3-0 at halftime, June 8, 2005 in Panama. Landon Donovan amongst the goal scorers and what would end up as a 3-0 win. That is the commanding position from which the U.S. kicks off this second half in San Jose. And they know that they needed to win for so many reasons. Altidore finding Pulisic. He's onside! Christian Pulisic! Get that hype train moving! Barely 15 seconds into the second half. This is getting better and better and better!
Well, great start by the U.S. And Stu, we are seeing a star born right before our very eyes. Aggressive start by the U.S. Put the ball in Honduras' end, make a play. Cool, calm, collected finish from the 18-year-olds. 4-0 U.S.
And 15 seconds for the United States to get on the board. Could give him 2 assists. He won't get 1 for Leget's goal because Escobar made the save. The pass to Dempsey, and it only seemed like it was going to be a matter of time. It's a smart run, but give credit as well to Jozy Altidore for the pass. He set up Pulisic initially in the first half of the shot that was saved, and then it's a wonderfully weighted pass. Quick touch out of his feet, and another finish. What a player Christian Pulisic is.
And to your point, Stu, Jozy's a goal scorer, but he's had 2 fantastic passes tonight that have eventually led to goals. Pulisic again on the end of this one, and this is getting out of hand now.
And actually, when the ball comes to Jozy Altidore, you see the pass, Dempsey tries to flick it over. Jozy Altidore a little around the corner. The first touch isn't great, and then he gets a little one off of his left foot into space, and then a cool, calm, collected finish. And the United States are absolutely cruising 4-0.
The 18-year-old came in with 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games for Borussia Dortmund. He's going to get a lot more playing time for them coming up. They've had injury concerns to Marco Rose and Mario Götze. It's his 4th career United States goal. One of the other pieces, too, moving him into the middle of the field. He was involved in more duels on the ball than any other player on the field in that first half. Wide for Ever Alvarado. His cross. Momentarily. We didn't even get a chance to tell you that Honduras made a sub at the half. Boniek Garcia was on the ball right there. The Houston Dynamo on for Emilio Izaguirre. So a formation change as well for Honduras with their 2nd sub of the game. Giveaway there by Claros. Altidore running, Pulisic inside, Dempsey to his right, Pulisic setting it in for Dempsey, threading the needle, Dempsey a touch around Escobar, it is 5! Can you believe this?
Well, I've seen passes like this from midfield from another U.S. number 10. He's standing right next to me, Landon Donovan. But just look at the space he picks it up. It's the weight of this pass. Right past Figueroa into Dempsey's path. He doesn't need to take a touch. He just rounds Escobar. And then the finish. Electric stuff. Emphatic from the United States.
And the other piece of this, Stu, before the ball gets played to Pulisic, takes a quick look over his right shoulder, something you're taught when you're young, and that should be ingrained in you. He does it naturally, turns the ball, and the weight were absolutely perfect. And when you put the ball there for Clint Dempsey, it's going to be a goal.
2nd goal of the night for him. He's getting closer to you, Landon. He's now 3 goals behind your U.S. record all time. Chad Brooks committing this foul on the outside. It's Boniek Garcia to take the free kick. Garcia's ball is too deep past everyone.
At this rate, he might break my record tonight.
You might not leave the building with that thing.
It looks like he's having fun out there, though, doesn't he, Landon? You just see that smile back on Clint Dempsey's face, and sometimes time away from the game is, I can rightly tell you, it gives you a little bit more of a hunger. And Clint Dempsey has avoided injuries throughout most of his career. Boy, he's got that spark back tonight.
Dempsey gave that ball away. Nahar was cross met by Brooks. Almost holding it in with Espinosa, Boniek Garcia. What a blow for Honduras. They really had confidence coming in. Bekelis's cross met by Bradley, but they could pull something off against a potentially weakened and damaged in this team. Dino, the substitute.
Happened since I heard the message at halftime, but you know what he said to the guys? He said this game at least ends at 3-0, but I'm really hoping for more, and his team has responded with that. He said he didn't like the way that they'd ended the half. He wanted to come out as strong as they did in the first, and that's how they answered. And there have been big smiles from the sideline. And just a quick injury update with Sebastian Lletget. He is still in attendance, but we'll get a scan on that left ankle injury back at the hotel, guys.
Well, they travel tomorrow night to Panama for Tuesday's game.
And following up on Jenny's point about Bruce, I've been in that locker room many times when you have a 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 lead, and he will have said to them, we get to the 60th minute at 3-0 or 4-0 or 5-0, but we don't give up a goal, and I think he got exactly what he wished for.
Alvarado charging forward. Gonzalez there to meet it. What is the psychology here? Both if you're the team leading 5-0, but also if you're the team trailing 5-0, because we still got 40 minutes left here.
Well, and that's the further point of Landon's statement about Bruce of wanting to keep the 0. Let's go back to the U.S. against Costa Rica, where they conceded 4. And normally in this type of game, if it's a friendly or it might be a group stage game in the Gold Cup, you might take your foot off the gas, but every goal counts in this type of situation. The United States are going to keep pushing, We could look in a completely different table.
Oh, Pulisic with the dance around Mino and Figueroa. Free kick on the edge of the area. We have a card forthcoming.
Well, you see a player that is supremely confident and is growing in confidence with every touch of the ball. Pulisic has been far and away the best player on the field, and he's shown it every time he's touched the ball tonight.
He left Hershey, Pennsylvania as a 16-year-old to join the youth team at Borussia Dortmund. By last January, he'd been promoted to the first team, and what a season he's had now. Regularly playing games, 31 appearances this season, has been involved in 14 goals. We've got Monaco coming up in the UEFA Champions League quarterfinal. Bayern Munich in a German Cup semifinal, sitting top 3 in the Bundesliga. Dempsey, meanwhile, standing over this free kick. We've seen him score these plenty of times, and he's sitting on a hat trick right now. His first career U.S. hat trick against Cuba 2 summers ago in the Gold Cup quarterfinal. Going for it here. Oh, are you serious? Have a night, Clint Dempsey. The last time we have seen the United States play like this.
Well, I said it in the first half and I'll say it again. Clint Dempsey just scores goals. And it's a man full of confidence. He's loving being back out there in that red, white, and blue. And the skill and the technique to run up at that angle and then hit it far post. And we do have to say, Escobar comes across his net and shifts, and it finds its far post, but wonderful bit of skill, and Clint Dempsey is back.
Stu, look at the 3 goals he scored. One, he holds off a defender, hits a running half volley into the top corner. Next one, he runs by the goalkeeper and slots it home, and then he hits a free kick. I think it's safe to say that Clint Dempsey is back, and he's happy. The smiles all around the U.S. faces on that celebration, and this goes well beyond just this result. You were asking about it earlier, John. The confidence this brings for the rest of the hexagonal is priceless.
What's Panama thinking about this, by the way?
Exactly, and what are Honduras thinking about their next trip now, or their next game? And this changes the dynamic of the entire group. Everybody else is watching this game going, oh no, the U.S. are back.
And by the way, Clint Dempsey shouldn't have even been starting tonight. if Bobby Wood is here, if Jordan Morris is healthy, Clint Dempsey's coming off the bench. Instead, he's got a hat trick, and good luck telling him against Panama, hey, Clint Dempsey, you're on the bench.
Pulisic, pass 1, pass 2, pass 3. Pulisic, will he keep it or hand it off? It's Altidore, just couldn't quite spin on it. Although Pulisic still buzzing around on Bekeles. These are two guys 16 years apart in age. 34-year-old Clint Dempsey, 18-year-old Christian Pulisic, and what they have pulled off tonight is quite sensational. We were joking about this earlier, but you might not leave the building with this thing.
Can we kill that graphic, please? I think Clint's looking at it, too.
Just remarkable. And still a long time to go. Altidore in the end of Villafaña's throw.
I think it's a race for man of the match at the moment. And it's funny saying that with the guys on a hat trick, but the way that Pulisic has played tonight as well, he's going to give Dempsey a run for his money, I'll tell you that.
Well, listen, the comparison, and to be fair, it was Bruce Arena who sort of brought this up to us yesterday. It's being asked about Christian Pulisic, Landon Donovan, and the idea of being such a talented young player and what the ceiling is. And Arena sort of poured cold water on his own smoldering embers yesterday at the press conference, saying that he's got a long way to go, Pulisic, before he can stand next to you. And I'm afraid to tee this to you because the U.S. keeps coming forward on these attacks. But what is the fairness and what is the accuracy of making that type of comparison to a kid who's still 18 years old?
Well, I said it yesterday, John. He's miles ahead of where I was at that age or where any of us were at that age. And I think about DeMarcus Beasley, too, at that age. The way he carries himself, he's so mature, he's so calm. And if you talk to him after the game tonight, he'll be humble and he'll be relaxed and he'll be happy about it, but he doesn't get carried away with anything. And I think the mentoring he's had at Dortmund has had a big impact on that. He talked to us about how his family keep him grounded, and he's just a young kid having fun playing soccer. It's great to see.
Espinoza, Bedoya knocks it away. And it really was impressive talking with Pulisic yesterday, and either because he's too young and naive or because he's had it rooted in him, he doesn't think any of this is abnormal. He said, I can't really even explain it. I just sort of go out there and I have fun and I try to enjoy it. And it is that sort of cocoon of support at Dortmund, but also the idea he's one of a bunch of world-class teenagers that they have in that club. Jenny, what more can you add to this conversation?
Well, when I spoke to Michael Bradley about Christian, you know, I said, what stands out about his development? He said, from the very beginning, he's been the kind of player who could just fit with our team. He isn't the guy who says too much. He doesn't say too little. He just fits with us, and he is improving every time he steps on the field.
Altidore back to his feet as he was fouled by Minor Figueroa. Then Altidore fouls on the other end. This is interesting. It's going to be Altidore's foul, which goes down in the books, and a free kick for Honduras.
I think Josie Altidore would have actually gone down there if they hadn't been up 6-0 and he'd sensed that he might get on the score sheet.
Jeff Cameron coming off here. Graham Zusi replaced him. We saw him yesterday struggling a little bit afterwards. Hamstring hip, something in there a little bit during this match. Is this just sort of playing safe, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You see the kinesio tape on his right quad there. He's done a job, and that's what Bruce Arena wanted from him. Doesn't see his future at right back with this team, but out of necessity and options that they had, he's done a shift there. He's done 60 minutes for Bruce Arena, and take him off. When you come back after a long layoff that Jeff Cameron had, you start to get those little muscle aches, and just get him right for Panama on Tuesday.
It was 4 months with a knee injury suffered just before the November qualifiers. He said, I had a pit in my stomach watching that game. He was actually in Miami as part of his rehab. Bonia Garcia, now for Ellison. It's a late recovery, but a great recovery by John Brooks to slide through and knock it in behind for a corner. Cameron just returning in the last few weeks, 3 straight 90 minutes of defensive midfield for Stoke City in the Premier League. So we talked about trying to keep that 0. Trying to stay switched on defensively, even for another half hour. It's 6-0 up. Bonia Garcia met by Brooks. And again off the crossbar by Brian Bekeles. Now Bedoya under pressure from Minor Figueroa. And another Honduras corner on the way. A hit by Bekeles.
This was one of those where if you're on his team, you say, no, don't. Okay. And he hit it well. Tim Howard lucky to look up and see that hit the crossbar.
He's only scored once in 46, now 47 appearances for Honduras. Those for Necaxa in Mexico. Espinosa this time on the corner. Altidore as far as Beckelis. Here he comes again.
That's the one you were talking about. That one landed right there. Where you're saying, no, not again. And that's normally what you expected. The first one was a great strike. Got through it, got over it. It was a dipping ball off the crossbar. That one was nowhere near him.
Honduras will make their third sub. Andy Najar. I got a chance to talk about him too much. Born in Honduras, came to the U.S. as a 13-year-old, the D.C. suburbs, rookie of the year in MLS. Now with Anderlecht in Belgium, he gets an early night, and Oliver Morazan comes on. Just his 11th career appearance, one of the domestic-based players for Honduras, who are now out of subs for the night. Just perhaps in damage control mode, as they will host Costa Rica Tuesday night. Gonzalez dangerous. Ellis got in the way. It's Morazan the substitute. Too much for Boniek Garcia to do anything with that.
Just had a little look down at Bruce Arena after that pass, and it was a shake of the head. Team's lost a little bit of focus the last few minutes. Still 30 minutes to go in this one. Have to maintain that commitment, that desire to keep going and close this one out and get that zero that we kept talking about.
How hard is that to do? I mean, you're on the field, you're 6-0 up. How hard is it to not just sort of relax?
As a defender, I think it's easy because you take pride in that. And Tim Howard will be in their ear for the next 30 minutes, making sure they know that. As an attacking player, you probably say, well, I don't care so much. We're going to win the game. I want to try to score a few more goals. But as a team, I think it's important for them to maintain a shutout. It'd be their first one in the hexagonal and an important message going into Panama.
Susi there to meet that ball, though it's poked away from Bradley. Dempsey's flick missed into the back by Figueroa. Altidore trying to send Pulisic on his way. Henry Figueroa met him. And it's notable that the U.S. 4 years ago in the 2013 hexagonal did not concede a goal in any of the 5 home matches. And conceded twice to Mexico, opening up this round of the hex back in November. Beckelis there jumping in front of Villafana. Ellis wants the cross. Here it comes, too far. Espinosa has lived more than half his life in the U.S. 30 years old now. As a 12-year-old, he moved to Denver, joining his father, who in Espinosa was just a 1-year-old, came to the U.S. to find work and find more opportunities for his family. He went to Ohio State, drafted by then Kansas City Wizards, has spent almost his entire career with what's now Sporting Kansas City, except for a brief sojourn to England, where all he did was win an FA Cup with Wigan. 51st appearance tonight, and he talked to us about the tightness of this Honduras group, of the core of the team that was at the 2014 World Cup. A group text that sort of continues every couple of days, everyone checking in and talking with one another. Handed into by some of these young players, and he said if you want to go to World Cup, you got to win away from home. This is going to be a real blow psychologically to Espinosa, particularly because it comes against so many of the familiar faces. He's got his Sporting Kansas City teammate Graham Zusi now out there. Albert Ellis just poked away by Nagbe, and then Villafana's clearance into the hands of Howard.
Look at this Honduran side, John, and we were giving them a lot of credit coming into this game because at times they've looked very good, but they've been playing in a 4-3-3, and Jorge Luis Pinto went back to his staple of that 3-5-2, the 2 banks in front. And I don't think he anticipated that the United States would play so direct and cause them so many problems. So in ways, I think they might have just overcoached this and overthought it and gone away from what their strengths were. You go down 2 or 3 early, and then all of a sudden your game plan has changed.
Altidore there just allowing hands with Manuel Figueroa. Garcia. This got that away on the outside for Andino and drag him all the way to the corner. Beckelis, Boniek Garcia kept it on Villafana. Now his cross Gonzalez actually out-jumped there by Alice, but he couldn't direct it on target. Claros misplays. Altidore couldn't do anything with it. Up in the American Outlaws section behind the goal to our right.
And as they should. The United States have put on a show tonight, getting full value for your ticket price.
Nicholas trying to send Boniek Garcia over the top. Brooks there to meet it. Mission of the first half is Nicholas misplays, and it's one of the keys now the rest of the way. Altidore, Bradley, and John Brooks don't get a yellow card. Don't get yourself suspended for Tuesday night in Panama.
Bruce Arena is usually very good in games like this at taking off players who have made a difference. Either Pulisic.
John Brooks has just gone down his notches and now laying backwards. This is a concern. He came in with a bit of a knock to the knee, stayed an extra day in Berlin to get an MRI. He said it was nothing major, sent him on his way to the US. We saw him with ice packs on after training. There's no idea, of course, if it's related, but Brooks is now down. You see they're just pointing at his chest as Tim Ream is now up and getting instructions.
It's hard to see what exactly happened to John Brooks there, but what's for sure is he looks in extreme discomfort. Doesn't look anything lower limb. But Tim Ream coming on, having a good season for Fulham, playing center back.
I was going to say, Bruce is usually good in games like this about pulling off someone in the end that's had a great game. You might have thought Pulisic to give him a standing ovation, or Dempsey, but obviously now if Brooks gets hurt, he's got to make his final sub here. And interesting to see that Tim Ream is the first name that Bruce had to put into this game. It might have been Beasler in another situation, but maybe because of the situation and they're winning 6-0, maybe he decided that it would be better off to give Tim Ream some experience next to Omar Gonzalez.
And I know that he made a trip over to London to watch Tim Ream play against Tottenham in the FA Cup and was impressed with his performance, but this does not look good.
This is very concerning as Brooks has gone back down. 24 years of age, native of Berlin, German mother and a father who was an American serviceman. Spent his whole life there, plays for Hertha Berlin. It was his boyhood club, now in his 4th Bundesliga season with them. Just came in scoring his 5th goal in those 4 seasons over the weekend. Made his debut for the U.S. back in 2013. Scored that game-winning goal against Ghana at the World Cup. Although didn't make his World Cup qualifying debut until the match against Mexico in November. And this has been the one sort of dark cloud over time. For all it's gone right, you have Leggett suffer the injury and have to go off, and Chef Cameron hopefully just precautionary going off, and now John Brooks having to be stretchered off the field. Trying to get the best look that we can. Started sort of hopping up and down right after that. So Tim Ream is on, St. Louis native. Is for Fulham in the 2nd tier. Just a point out of a playoff spot. Try a little promotion to the Premier League with 8 games to go. So the U.S. now out of subs as well. Teams are as they're going to be for the next 20 minutes. And Gonzalez throws a shoulder. Interesting to see how players on both teams react to sort of that long stoppage, and the U.S. players seeing Brooks go off like that.
Brooks had a good night, and I think he needed it, because against Costa Rica, he had a very bad night. And he's one of those players that a lot of people were critical of his performances, but he stepped up tonight, and especially, I go back to that challenge in the first half where Omar Gonzalez had slid all the way past the front post, and he just got his toe in at the end.
And that was one of the benefits of having a new coach come in Bruce Arena. I think if Jurgen Klinsmann were still here, Brooks probably wouldn't have played tonight after a performance like that, but Bruce understandably gave everyone a clean slate, and it was good for John Anthony Brooks to have a good performance tonight.
And he had another shot that he slid through to block here in the second half, and Espinosa holds off Pulisic. Open up for Bekeles here in the near side. Villafana comes to meet him. Was able to keep it on Villafana, spins away outside for Bonya Garcia. His driven cross met on the chest by Reeb. Behind for Honduras, his 5th corner of the night. Garcia to take. It's met on a flying scissor kick volley by Albert Ellis. Just couldn't get that on target.
Just switching off a little bit here. Bradley loses his mark. Ellis, he just peels off, tries to wrap his right foot around it. Goes for the spectacular.
Bradley pressured by Claros. Spoke so highly of Bradley in the first half, scored that wonderful goal. How has he looked in the second half to you?
It's become a different game for him. In the first half, he was having to be that link player between defense and attack. He was shuffling across. He was closing down space, picking up the ball. I thought he had an excellent first half. Second half has been quiet, but that's been dictated by the game. And the fact that the United States got those early few goals and they've just dominated play. Really, he's just been shuffling up and cleaning up in front.
And when you play a lineup like this, you don't need Michael Bradley to be an offensive engine. You let Pulisic and others do it.
Quickly back in play on the free kick from Espinosa. Bedoya was alert the whole time. The ball's going to spin out for a goal kick. It was sort of a makeshift back line. You had Jeff Cameron because of multiple injuries at right back. Gonzalez and John Brooks in the middle, and Jorge Villafana making his World Cup qualifying debut. The other player with Leggett, who was given his national team debut by Bruce Arena in the January camp and then thrown in the fire here, is maybe a caught in possession but got away with it. Villafana really is a wonderful story. 27 years of age, born in Southern California, grew up quite a bit though in Mexico. As Bedoya opens it up here for Villafana. As a high school senior, his uncle convinced him to go to a tryout for a new reality show that was going to be starting, the winner of which was going to get a training camp spot with Chivas USA. He didn't actually make the 2,000-person show. He was on a 4,000-kid wait list originally. As that ball, which was arguably more out than the one Pulisic had earlier, is ruled in play. Villafana got on the show, won the show, won a training camp spot with Chivas USA, played 7 years for them. Moved to the Portland Timbers, won MLS Cup in 2015. That got him a move to Santos Laguna in Mexico. Began as a starter with them, lost his spot in the fall, got it back just last weekend, and now the kid they call Sueño, that was the name of the show, Sueño MLS, making his World Cup qualifying debut.
I think, John, to your point, this is one of Bruce's best attributes. He has a knack for putting guys in position to succeed. And when we talked to him about Villafana, when we talked to him about Leggett, he said, listen, we're playing at home in a qualifier. If we're going to play them for their first time, this is the time to do it. They're at home. They should be more comfortable. Maybe we wouldn't do that when we're playing in Panama, but here we're going to do it.
I think the natural inclination for everyone was to think that Beasley was going to start this game because he's an experienced player. He knows what qualifying's like. But instead, he trusted Villafana. And I asked Bruce Arena when I sat down with him, I said, do you have enough confidence in a guy that has 2 caps to step up and start in this game? And And he says, I've watched him in MLS, I played against his team, I watched him at Santos, and played against him with the Galaxy, and I have full confidence that he can step into that role and get the job done. And I would say he is right in his assessment of Villafaña tonight.
But doing good work there under pressure. Now rolled in for Altidore. Dempsey there with him. Pulisic running off Altidore. Pulisic has it now. Going to square it for Dempsey, who had peeled off his run a little bit. And no seventh, at least not there. You're going to see a lot of these same players next Friday night here on FS1. MLS doubleheader. Toronto FC and Sporting Kansas City at 7:30 Eastern. Altidore and Zusi, who are out there. That matter, Roger Espinoza, the defending champion Seattle Sounders, including Clint Dempsey. Battle the incredibly exciting Atlanta United. That'll be at 10 Eastern. MLS doubleheader next Friday here on FS1. Nicholas, Dominic Garcia laying off. There's Morazan directing traffic with Andino. Nicholas overran the play. Dempsey able to knock it back. Espinoza ran through. He escapes from Claros, his former teammate in Kansas City, and then just runs into a wall with Ever Alvarado, another former teammate of his in Kansas City.
Brief teammate.
Hey! Aynur! Come on,
Figueroa and Omar Gonzalez getting yelled at for the benches.
Omar Gonzalez always had a good way of tuning out Bruce Arena in moments like that.
A couple of titles doing that, though.
You have to have that with coaches at times, and they won't like hearing it, but you just give that little wave over and say, yeah, I got you.
Or you pretend you didn't hear anything.
Yeah, Garcia able to keep it on Altidore's pressure. Inside of 15 minutes now. Hooked in for Albert Allis. He's going to bring it down and then lose his footing. The previous biggest win, by the way, in a hexagonal game, final round of World Cup qualifying for the U.S., 3-0. Done on a couple of occasions. This is shattering the record book. It's Boniek Garcia, who's slow to get up behind the plates. An attempt by Morazan from a long ways out that earns jeers from the American Outlaws. Boniek Garcia now in his 7th year with the Houston Dynamo. His given name is Oscar Garcia. Boniek is his middle name, named for Zbigniew Boniek, who was a Polish star of the 1980s, and he didn't know until he was a player with Olympia and the media started asking him that there was even someone named Boniek. It was just his name, but what ended up happening is Nagbe works hard to keep it and find Altidore. Pressure from behind by Bekelis. Altidore able to keep it on him and Claros. Is because there were so many Omar or Oscar Garcias in his neighborhood. Boniek just became his name he was known by. Pulisic working on Figueroa. Now his cross almost fell for Altidore's. Alvarado mishit it.
He'll want to get one tonight, Jozy Altidore, because I think he's in some ways been the unsung hero tonight, because everyone's going to talk about Dempsey and Pulisic, and rightly so, because they've had great nights. But Jozy Altidore, who's normally on the score sheet, has created two. He's worked hard. He's dropped in defensively, and he's put in a real workman-like performance for this team.
He's occupied the center backs all night and given Dempsey and Pulisic room underneath. And if I had told you the U.S. were going to win 6-0 tonight and Jozy Altidore wasn't on the score sheet, you wouldn't have believed.
Here comes Bedore. That ball hooked out of bounds, out of play.
He almost doesn't expect this one to find its way to him, and it's again Pulisic starting centrally, drifting wide. A little measure, comes back on the right foot. And that little moment there, he thinks Alvarado is going to win it, and it takes him off guard.
And Garcia lost possession there. play keep away. That away. If you find, you got to be careful. Morzan sliding through to keep it. Boniek Garcia now trying to find Albert Ellis. Flag is up for offside. Two Houston Dynamo teammates trying to connect there. Final 10 minutes on a glorious night. Tim Howard, as it stands, his second career shutout in 5 World Cup qualifiers against Honduras. 4 years ago, it was a 1-0 win over Honduras in Salt Lake City. Josie Altidore scoring the goal that day. Carlos fighting through. Nagby wins it back. Pulisic a goal and 2 assists tonight, handing off for Michael Bradley. Able to recover it from Morzan. Gonzalez under pressure, does just enough and bowls over Jorge Claros.
Stu, one thing that's been really clear for me tonight is how defined the roles have been for the U.S. team. The back four have been told to stay for the most part. Michael Bradley's been told to sit in that hole defensively. And then the attacking 5 have had very clear and defined roles in how they should move, along with some freedom in how they should move. And I think that's been very important for them so that they can get back to just understanding exactly what's expected of them, and they have responsibility. And then if there's a problem, you know whose fault it was, and you can deal with it. But tonight they've been very smart in how they've played their roles.
It's interesting because in training yesterday we did see some of the pattern play, and we wondered how that relationship with Dempsey and Pulisic and Altidore, because Dempsey likes to drop off. And Pulisic, he said he's aware of that, and he knows when he needs to run beyond the striker and open up that space for Clint Dempsey to fall underneath. And that's exactly right. That comes down to knowing your roles and having that awareness and making those smart little runs off the ball that has made the United States look so dynamic going forward.
And I think to your earlier point, Honduras started in a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2. And what happened when they pressed is it left tons of space underneath their back 3 for Pulisic and Dempsey to get the ball. And that's basically committing suicide as a team if you do that. And they have absolutely punished Honduras for it.
Ellis 1-on-4, knocked off the ball. Morzan able to win it back. Boniek Garcia sending a deep cross in for Roger Espinoza. Zusi, longtime friends and teammates there battling. It's going to be behind for another Honduras corner. 45th career appearance for Graham Zusi tonight in this new role of his at right back. Was hooked in. Ellis was put off it by Altidore. Skips all the way through for Bekeles, this time electing to cross. Comfortable stuff for Tim Howard. He's going to find Bedoya in the end. Dempsey is onside. He started his own half. That's the only thing that hasn't gone well for him tonight.
Surprised that didn't go on the goal too.
Well, that was a lot of room to run for Clint Dempsey after that fact. I think in the 85th minute he might have gotten caught there.
Espinoza turning it back inside of Bedoya. Outside from Alvarado. Espinoza trying to return for Alvarado. Gonzalez meeting it with his head.
Space in the middle. It was almost like the first half a little bit crying out for a direct ball or somebody just to drop in and pick it up.
Yeah, you want to see people moving, but it's 6-0, so you know they're tired. They're probably saving their legs for Panama as well. But Michael Bradley has the ball there. You want to see some movement ahead so he can make a pass.
Boniek Garcia threw a hand to the face of Pulisic, caught him good. Pulisic is doubled over a bit. Boniek Garcia is upset. That stopped his opportunity possession. Jenny, what kind of update can you give us about John Brooks?
Guys, I have to say some good news coming out about Brooks. Dehydration is the word to describe what he's been dealing with. So no knee, nothing to be concerned about dehydration for John Brooks.
There you go, and hopefully that means ready to roll for Tuesday night in the heat and the humidity of Panama.
If you're dehydrated here, you got
65 degrees.
Something coming for you in Panama.
We saw Bruce Arena there as Pulisic. How about that touch? And then a second one to Dempsey. And now he's trying to hold off Morzano, just able to recover it. Whatever happened here tonight was going to be hung on Bruce Arena, particularly if it was something bad. How much credit should he be given for what is at the end of the day one game?
Well, let's not get carried away, right? But what he did and what everyone has talked about for the last 2 months is he brought a renewed excitement into the national team. Guys said, I couldn't wait to get into this camp. It's more relaxed, it's more comfortable. My role has been defined for me. He's communicating with us. Everything seems like it's trending the right way. But in the end, we said that's all great. You got to get the results, and now they got the result to go with it.
Dempsey now, Zusi running outside to the right. Altidore. U.S. grab a 7. Here's Clint Dempsey. Could he grab a 4th for himself? He wants to set up Altidore, and Escobar was able to get down and smother it.
And further to your point, I think that what Bruce Arena has done is he's developed that solid foundation. He's got a buy-in from the big leaders in the group, and just little tweaks here and there, little things. And I know Christian Pulisic played centrally against Mexico in a home qualifier, but I don't think that was the right time and the right type of game where he can thrive. In this one, it comes down to those clear defined roles that you've talked about. The two front men with Josie Altidore and Clint Dempsey having a good relationship, and just all the little pieces being connected along with the confidence in the group and just that new little lift you get from a new coach. And if you want a statement to CONCACAF that this United States team might be on its way to back to his best, well, this is the type of result you need.
And let's not forget or lose sight of the fact that they scored 4 minutes in or 5 minutes in, right? So everything could calm down and everybody could relax after that. It was a really, really important goal, not just for this game, but for the Hexagonal going forward.
For that matter, they scored twice in 4 minutes coming out of the halftime break to end any hope Honduras would have had of pulling something back, maybe even getting a result here. Speculoos is cleared away by Tim Ream. Well, now the U.S. will travel tomorrow night to Panama City on the overnight flight. They'll play their Tuesday night, a Panama team that lost in Trinidad 1-0 earlier today. It's the last of those 3 automatic qualification spots. The U.S. coming in knowing that they could go down as they did 4 years ago and win in Panama. They'd be in those top 3 spots and the situation would be rectified awfully quickly. What are both of your thoughts on the U.S. going into that game?
Well, I think now they got the home result, which the United States have historically had very good performances at home. They have had better luck in Panama than they had in Costa Rica. But now I'm interested in how Bruce Arena is going to line his team up in this game against Panama. Or is he going to sit back a little bit more and play a different formation or attacking? Or is he going to go the way he is in this one and say, I like this group, this is how I want to play?
Great tackle by Zusi there, leading to the 7th corner for Honduras. Espinosa picked it by Ellis. Speculoos calling for Boniek Garcia instead. It's going to be a handball on Michael Bradley. And a free kick and a great shooting position for Honduras to try to spoil the shutout for the U.S. tonight.
And Stu, what will the personnel be? Right? If Cameron can't play, if John Anthony Brooks can't play, does Jermaine Jones come back in? It's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts, and that will be much more of a true test than tonight was.
Might Jordan Morris might be available for that as well, as he's still with the team coming off the ankle injury he suffered over the weekend in Seattle. 2-minute stoppage time. Boniek Garcia and Manoa Figueroa getting set to test Tim Howard. How much would he love to see a 0 hung up on that scoreboard at the end of the night? His return to the national team after the injury last November. Big wall to try to get this ball over. Boniek Garcia passed it. Figueroa blasted Howard down to meet it and cleared away. save of the night for Tim Howard. Agby cutting off Boniek Garcia.
John, that would separate the good from the great. Goalkeepers, and you haven't been tested much for 90 minutes, and then you're called upon to make a big save to keep that 0, something that goalkeepers take pride in.
And a much harder save than it looked, or than he made it look. And it's great for this team to have Tim Howard back. It's great for this team to have Clint Dempsey back and playing this way, and it gives U.S. soccer fans a lot of hope that this team will be going to Russia in a year and a half.
Well, we talked a lot the last couple of days. We know how good Honduras is and how much respect the U.S. had for their players, the confidence coming in. I think we all expected something good tonight for the United States. I don't think anyone could have possibly expected something like this.
And it's been a great performance, but everything has gone the United States' way. They got the early goal, some good individual performances from Pulisic, goals from Dempsey. A night that Bruce Arena can be proud of.
It is a record-breaking win for the United States in the final round of World Cup qualifying. Christian Pulisic, a goal and 2 assists. Clint Dempsey, a hat trick. United States 6, Honduras 0. Tonight was about trying to get this qualifying campaign and this run for an 8th consecutive World Cup appearance back on track. Well, here you go. They're sitting in the playoff spot. They're going down to Panama, an opportunity with the win to leap into the top 3. Feeling